Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elaine, but you can always call me Ellie. And today we'll be talking about some books that I hated from the first moment that I saw them, that I saw their covers or read a little bit about the summary and the synopsis. And then some of them I really like them now, but some of them I hate them a lot. So I was right, like always, or almost always. Of course, this is my opinion, so if you really like or hate some of the books that I like or hate, take everything that I say with a grain of salt. That I didn't like it and I didn't love them, or that I liked those books, don't mean that they are actually either good or bad. I think that liking or loving or hating something is really subjective to the person and what they like. Of course, if you do have really strong opinions about any of these books, let me know in the comments and I can answer you, or at least I know what you're thinking about. So let's begin. First, let's start with People We Met in Vacation by Emily Henry. And I read this book this year, I think on March or February, I don't actually remember that well. This book was so hyped up by TikTok, by BookTok and Instagram, everywhere. I saw this book everywhere and people said that it was really good, that they loved it, that this was something really new to the actual friends to lovers trope, and it was good. I wouldn't say that it wasn't good. I did a review video about this book, and the truth is that I liked it. Yes, I did see how it was different from other friends to lovers book, and I didn't end up hating it. I don't like to read that many reviews when I go into a book because I want to form my own opinion. So I was really biased. I thought that I was going to hate it, really hate it, because I think that everything that people hype, like every book or every single thing that people hype, is not actually that good, and it's just like the trend at that moment. But it was actually good. I wouldn't say that it's my favorite. I think that I didn't love the main character, Poppy. I found her a little bit of a narcissist person, and she was like stringing along Alex. I don't know if you have read the book, so I'm not going to give any spoilers. I think that I did that a lot in the review video. So yeah, this one surprised me a little bit. It's good, you can read it, and this is like a book to take on vacation where you don't actually have to think and analyze a lot. It's not a book for you to do a thesis on or anything like that. It's just like a comfy read for a summer vacation where you go to the beach and you can like read about the places that they travel to. Yeah, that's it. So I hated it in the beginning, and now I think I kind of like it, but that's it. So I wasn't wrong, I was just like a little bit wrong. The next book that I swore I was going to hate a lot is The Beautiful Ones. I didn't actually want to read this book. Someone gave it to me, or I bought it, I don't remember, because I liked the cover, but after I got home and read what the synopsis said, I wasn't that intrigued because it merges a lot of Regency, kind of Jane Austen-esque things with paranormal. I wouldn't say paranormal, but like fantasy things, and I wasn't that into that idea. But when I started reading this book, I must say that it really surprised me. I don't hate it now. I love it. This is like a telenovela. I think I did another video, like a review for this book, and I said it. This book is like a telenovela mixed with Jane Austen. Like if you look for something that is like Mariela del Barrio, Mercedes, or something like that, or Teresa, I don't know, something like that, mixed with Jane Austen, and especially Pride and Prejudice. I hated it in the beginning. I didn't really want to read it, and it surprised me a lot. The villain, I think it was one of the things that I really liked about this book was the villain. She was so well written, and also telenovelas tend to have the main character be like this innocent, super dumb, kind of like stupid little girl who is so pure and a virgin and whatever, but then they portray her as a stupid person who doesn't seem to understand when someone is bad and trying to get her. And doesn't seem to understand that the man that she's attracted to or in love to, because they fall in love in 3 days, is like a bad person, like a machista, awful machista. And in this book, it's not like that. Yes, it has a lot of things that can take you back to telenovela, to a telenovela, but the main character is actually really smart, and she's like, fuck everyone, I am like I am, and even if I try hard to change that, I'm not going to. And yes, she does fall in love with the main character, the male main character, but like, she's not that naive. So I was completely wrong with this book. I shouldn't have hated it since the beginning, but I feel like if I wasn't that invested on proving that I was going to hate this book, I wouldn't have read this book. So I think that again I was right. Next, I bring you a classic, because your girl read classics. So Withering Heights. What can I say about Withering Heights? I thought that I was going to hate this book just because of the movie. This is a story time. I watched the movie like years ago, and I hated it because the main character, Heathcliff, he was an asshole. He was an asshole, and I think that years ago I didn't actually understand the point of the story and what it's really meant to convey. I think I didn't understand what the author was trying to let you know or to represent, and I do understand now. And after I read the book and I had the chance to read the words that the author had actually written and not a movie, which is an adaptation, which a lot of adaptations are really good, and it was good. It's just that I think I was dumb and I didn't understand at that time what this story was about. So I'm not going to spoil it, because I think that Withering Heights is one of those books that everyone should read at least once. If you are going to read a Bronte book, it's either The Tenant of Wildfell Hall. I don't remember the name of the place. I'm going to leave it right here. Or Withering Heights. It's about 2 love stories in one book. So it is about a love story that is toxic for both, about a man who wants something that he cannot have, who thinks that he deserves it because when he was younger he suffered a lot of discrimination and injustice, but he kind of obsesses with this girl who was the daughter of the house where he lived when he was younger, and he suffered all of that discrimination. They were friends in the beginning, but then she got married with someone who was rich, and then he went away and he came back richer with money. He bought the house that now was like almost abandoned and almost destroyed. So he moved there, and he cannot do anything because she's already married, and she dies. I'm just gonna give you a little bit of spoilers because I have to. It's a classic. By now, if you haven't read Withering Heights, you're just going to read it if people tell you what it is about. And then she has a daughter, and the daughter, she's very beautiful. She looks a lot like her mother. So he plans something which is really schemy and shady and awful, and gets her married with his son, which is gross. And then the girl repeats his story because she falls in love with the son of the woman who died brother. So I thought that I was going to hate this book a lot. I thought that I wasn't going to like it because of the main characters, but I understood that I wasn't supposed to like the characters, I just was supposed to know about the story. Okay, now the love hypothesis. Do you know, you must know by now my struggle with this book. So I thought that I was going to hate it because again, it was super hyped up by everyone without exception. Everyone who I saw on YouTube, they loved this book. Everyone on BookTok, they cried and loved this book, and I thought that it's not gonna be like that because I have read books that are really hyped up in everywhere again, and they're not actually that good, and I ate my words with this book. I really liked it, and I do have to accept, first is a fan fiction, but I don't mind, and also it is a rom-com. It's like a stupid romance book. It's not, again, it's not like a classic, it's not like a very big literary piece. It's not like it's going to change the world of written word. It's not something like that. It's just a book, a fun book to read and to cry over. I cried so much because of miscommunication. That is the part that I really don't like. I hate when books use miscommunication as a way to make the story longer or to stop two people from loving each other. I hate that because it's dumb, but still it made me cry because I fell in love with the two characters and the way that they described the characters and the things happening. One of the things that I didn't like is that the whole book was a constant repetition of how tall he was, of how big he was, of how she was, the girl was so small and petite, and like, you don't weigh a thing, you don't weigh nothing. I don't like that. I didn't like that, but still I enjoyed the book and I didn't hate it. I loved it, and I said that this was one of the books that I really liked reading this year. Next book is going to be El amor en los tiempos de cóleras, or The Love in the Time of Cholera. And yes, I thought that I was going to hate this book since the beginning because I read some reviews and I said, if there is something like that, they talk about a little bit of P and a little bit of SA in the review. So I said that if there is something like that in the book, I'm not going to like it, especially if they romanticize it. So this author tends to romanticize, Gabriel Garcia Marquez, he tends to romanticize, I don't know how to say the word without YouTube getting mad, SA and pedophilia a lot, okay? So yeah, all of his books have something like that, and is not criticizing that thing, is romanticizing it, and I hate that. So I was completely right. I'm not going to talk a lot about this book because I made a video, or I think a weekly blog, where I do a review of this book inside of the weekly blog, and it was the longest 30 minutes of my life because I talked a lot. So yeah, I hated this book before I started reading it. I knew that I was going to hate it, and I was right. Because again, I'm always right, except with the other books. I'm sorry. Lastly, Emma. So first, look at this edition of Emma. It is so beautiful. But let's get into it. So Jane Austen is one of my favorite writers, right? And I thought that I was going to hate Emma just because, again, I made the mistake of watching the movie before reading the book. And in the movie, I think that it was really well done. All of the versions, or the, I don't know what they're called, like the adaptations that they did, all of them, I liked them, especially the one that did, I think it's Anna Taylor or something like that, the one that did the Queen's Gambit. I love her. She's like my soulmate. Like, I would get married to her so fast. I love her. I watched the movie and I liked it like any movie, but I didn't like, except on that one that Anna Taylor plays Emma, and I think it's just because Anna Taylor didn't play Emma. I hated how of a brat she was. Like she's Mosa, like she wanted to be in everyone's business, and I didn't like that. She played matchmaking with everyone just because she was sometimes bored. She didn't actually pay attention to what everyone wanted, and she was a brat. She was a brat. That's it. That is the whole description of her character. But in the book, I had actually time to analyze all of the things that happened to her and all of the things that she did, and I saw that in here, at least, I could see how the character was developed. So she went from a brat who only cared about her own feelings and amusement, especially amusement, and to a person who actually cared and tried to make right of her wrongs. So she tried to fix whatever she had broken and whatever she did. She really tried to fix her mistakes, and I think that that is one of the things that I love the most about Emma, is that you're not supposed to love the character of Emma. You're supposed to see her grow and become a person who knows when she did something wrong, even though she wasn't groomed to think like that. She was an only daughter. She didn't have a mom, and the father was completely on her feet. Like everything that she wanted, everything that she said goes in the beginning, and he spoiled her a lot. And I think that going from that to a person who actually recognizes or is able to recognize her mistakes and the things that she did wrong and try and fix it actually, is a big accomplishment. So yeah, I do love the book now. I think that this was the only book written by Jane Austen that I didn't actually love in the beginning, and I don't know, I feel like the passing of the years have taught me that this is the most real character that Jane Austen actually wrote, because it's not perfect. So yeah, I thought that I was going to hate Emma, and I was so sad because Jane Austen is one of my favorite authors, but I didn't, and I don't, and I grew with her also. So yeah, I love her now.